So, good day, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Ask Docta. Topic today is to bring cancer close to you. So, most of the time, people ask themselves, what is cancer? And we realize that cancer has become a leading health problem in our country. So, we're going to bring to you the topic closer, and we're going to start by explaining to you what cancer is exactly. So, what is cancer? Let's start by looking into our human body system. We have a body that is a system, and it is made of organs, and in the organs you have cells. Let's take this as an example of a human cell. Those are small basic units of our system which we can't see. But our whole body, our skin, is composed of many millions of cells. So, and in cancer, most of us physicians, we just say cancer is an abnormal growth of cells. So how do cells grow abnormally and divide or multiply abnormally? If this is a cell is composed of other small parts which we call organelles, but basically a cell has a nucleus, and that is where the basic information that controls the cell come from. It's just like a computer also, that you have a chip, and within the chip it controls how the computer behaves. And if the chip is has been invaded by a virus, you have a problem with your computer. So when a cell, normally within an organ, it has a basic information on how it has to behave. There are control mechanisms how this cell divides, how it multiplies, and what it has to do, which functions it has to carry out within the body. It could happen that there is a damage within the system. So if there's a damage where the cell is being controlled, where the multiplication of the cell is being controlled, so the cells start multiplying. Instead of just multiplying one time, the cell multiplies several times. So if a cell that has this damage is a cancerous cell, we take a different color. This cell multiplies at a more faster rate than the other cells. Basically, the cause of cancer is a damage within the multiplication system within the cell. So, in our organism, we have other regulatory mechanisms. We have the mechanism that gives the command to multiply. We also have a system that controls if the multiplication was normal. If there was too much multiplication or cells behaved abnormally, those abnormal cells are being controlled and taken out by our immune system and destroyed. So another possible problem could not be only within the multiplication, but in the control system, which actually repairs the multiplication cycle within the cell. So if the system that controls is also damaged, cells multiply and go out of control. So if you understood me, a cancer cell is a cell that multiplies and divides abnormally. And this cell is like a very stubborn person, like a wicked person. It multiplies and does things it doesn't have to do. It goes to places it doesn't have to go. So a cancerous cell will leave the organ, for example, from the lung. It might travel to the brain and continue multiplying there and cause a lot of damage. So actually, that is a brief description of what is cancer. And it is important to know that within our body, within every human being, we develop cancer cells every day. But the most important thing is we have a functional repair mechanism. We have our immune system, which controls the cell division and makes sure that any abnormal cell that is developed is rapidly destroyed. So if this system, which everybody normally has, if it has a small problem, a damage also, cancerous cells that we develop every day escape, grow uncontrolled. Ask Docta. Ask Docta. So another question is, we normally hear within the society, somebody has liver cancer, somebody has prostate cancer, somebody has brain tumor or brain cancer or breast cancer. And actually, I just explained the mechanism of cancer, and it is actually something unique within the whole spectrum of cancer. So the next question is, why do we have so many different types of cancer? We have about 200 different types of cancer. And the basic thing about the different types of cancer is where the primary site of the cancer was located. Because our cells behave differently. The cells in the lungs, they look different and they behave different from the cells from the liver, from the cells of our stomach, from our prostate cells. So these cells normally have a different biologic function, and they behave abnormally depending on the primary site where they arose. So when we say somebody has lung cancer, what we are defining is the primary site of the cancer was from the lungs. Even if these cells migrated into the brain, into the liver, we still define them as metastasis of the lung cancer, because they have a unique form, they have a unique way of behaving. And a pathologist, if he examines these cells under the microscope and does some staining, he could be in the position to tell us definitely, in most cases, where the cancer came from. So our basic definition of the type of cancer is based on the primary site of the cancer. So, as I was saying, we could use some diagrams here to illustrate how cancer develops. If you can look here, you see cells which are dividing within an organ structure, and you see how the normal cells are aligned. Here below, you could now see cells, a bunch of cancerous cells. They are growing, actually multiplying out of the organ system, and they multiply very, very rapidly. And that is what makes cancer cells, as we normally say, they are malicious, because they grow out of their bounds and they don't control. So from these diagrams now, you could basically understand what cancer is. And as I was saying, we have several types of cancer based primarily on the site where the cancer cells develop. So as you can see on the diagram of a human body, these are the lungs. So you can see here this nodule here, which is a lung cancer, is developing from the lungs. And here you can see this is the liver, and if the cancer cells primarily develop from the liver, we call them liver cell cancer. And the different types of cancer are actually not always based on the organs, but you also sometimes have cancer which are based on the type of tissue that we microscopically define. And you also have cancerous cells which are not within an organ system as we have here, but cells which are cancerous, for example, in our blood system, which is more a fluid system. So you have leukemia, which also belongs to the group of cancerous diseases. They develop from our blood cells, from the bone marrow primarily, and these cells are located throughout our blood system. Ask Docta. Ask Docta. So the next question we are going to address now is, what causes cancer? What the hell causes cancer? Such a malicious disease. And everybody asks himself, why do I get cancer? How does it come that I was the one who developed cancer? So, if we look at the system as we explained before, we have a problem within the regulatory mechanisms of the cell growth. So what could cause all these control mechanisms not to function within a cell? Basically, there are certain substances, we call them in our medical term, they are cancerogenous because they could damage the nucleus of the cells, they could damage the control mechanism. And one of the cancerogenous substances that we popularly know is, for example, tobacco. So those who smoke, they normally have certain substances within the smoke that could cause a damage within the control mechanisms within a cell that could cause them to develop cancer. One other most popular causes of cancer is actually our age. So the older we get, the more prone and exposed we are to cancer diseases because our control mechanisms are more likely to malfunction. Another possible cause of cancer is also our lifestyle. Those who are obese, those who don't do a lot of physical activity, their immune system and the cell function is somehow changed, that they are more exposed to cancer diseases. Besides age and lifestyle, we have the genetic makeup. What our basic genes, the type of genes we carry in our system, the brain box of every cell. If maybe you get some inherited changes within the system, for example, in breast cancer, which already damage the regulatory mechanism or the multiplication process of the cells, you could develop breast cancer that you inherited from your parents. But these are just a minute cause of the cancer. So most breast cancers are actually not caused by genetic inheritance, but it's also one of the causes of cancer. And we also have another cause, which is how our immune system functions. When there are infections like HIV, which primarily invade our immune system, the immune system is out of function. So this damage leads the individuals to a higher risk of developing cancer diseases, because the immune system, which was responsible of clearing cancer cells, no longer function. Another cause of cancer, which is also very, very popular in our country, are viruses. One of the most leading causes of cancers, actually the leading cause of cancer in women, the cervical cancer, is caused by a chronic inflammation of the cervix caused by the human papilloma virus. You also have the hepatitis virus, which causes the liver cell cancer. Besides the viruses, also you have bacteria also, which cause cancers. When you have a chronic infection of the stomach by the Helicobacter pylori bacteria, this also can develop stomach cancer. Besides the viruses, also you have some parasites. One of the most popular parasites, which actually is very, very prominent in the eastern part of Africa, but also within our continent, within our region, like the schistosoma hematobium parasite, which invades the bladder. This causes bladder cancer. So these are most of the causes of cancer within our system.